Sometimes you sound like a tough boy, like hell. But
I am.
But no, you care about the world because otherwise you wouldn't do what
right,
you do.
right. No, Michael's right. He's looking for my Achilles heel, my chink in my armor. I don't care about saving the world, but I want you to be able to save the world. That's true. That's true. And we've created now up to $775 billion with meatheads just like, well, maybe not, there's not too many Dutch on that list, but meatheads just like you, 775 billion in the last 25 and a half years. And a lot of the guys and gals are trying to save the world. I mean, they're just, but I tell you, think of a product or a service that changes 1 billion lives, i.e. Facebook, and you will, by definition, become extremely wealthy, and you can go and take that money and the followers that you'll have to go enhance the world in whatever manner you see fit. Our only benchmark is as long as it's legal, moral, and ethical. Anything goes. Now, depending on where you are in the world, the moral and ethical can swing in the wind because everybody's ethics is not the same as somebody else's ethics, and everybody's morality is not the same as everybody else. But where you go, and when you go to a place that has a rule of law, legal is legal. And so, but we've got a lot of people that are utilizing the QLA methodology all over the planet. There are some places in the world, as I've told Michael, where it's harder. Okay, some of the African continent is harder because of corruption. Russia is harder because of corruption. Not impossible, but harder. But if you're in a major country that has a rule of law, QLA is easy. Easier than any other game in town. And the whole system is based on no money because I started with no money, and the kids that have created these 775 billion, with one or two exceptions, have started with no money. And it's quite remarkable. And right now, hate him or love him, President Trump has changed the world forever. President Trump has changed the financial fabric of this planet forevermore. Full disclosure, I knew the president 25 years ago. I haven't talked to him in 25 years. But he has changed the financial fabric of this world forever.
So what did he change?
He changed the lowest interest rates in 5,000 years. They're giving away money at ING Bank, literally. What are you going to tell your kids and grandkids 20 years from now when your grandson that's yet to be born comes up and says, "Granddad, what did you do during the greatest transformation of wealth in the history of the planet?" And you know what you're going to say? I wish I could speak Dutch now so I could say it in Dutch. "I sat with my thumb up my fucking ass and did nothing."
They understand.
They know enough English, they got that.
They understand.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, what are you going to tell them? Right now, the energy in all across the board in the world is so upbeat. And when President Trump wins again, and I was one of the first that predicted he was going to win before he decided to run, he's going to win in a landslide. The Democrats are handing it to him on a silver platter. He's changing the world. Because, and what he's doing with the Russians, or not, excuse me, with the Chinese have been screwing over the world with the tariffs and stealing intellectual property, etc., for 40, 50 years. He is now taking them to task, as somebody else should have. Obama should have, Bush should have, Clinton should have, and then Bush again should have, and whoever came up after, they should have done, but they didn't, because there's collateral damage. And right now, the farmers in America are getting hurt. Some of the farmers in the EU are getting hurt because of these tariffs, but it's got to be done. It's got to be done. Otherwise, the leading country on this planet is going to be a communistic country, not a free country. And you'll wish somebody had done it. But he's changed the world. He just has. And it's quite remarkable to see, because I have mentees, students, devotees, whatever you want to call them, all over the planet. And the stories that I get back, it's incredible the good that they're doing. I have many here in the Netherlands that are just, in America they'd say crushing it, but they're just doing significantly well. They're rolling up various industries, starting with no money, and it's all on my site. It's all for free. The methodology, the same methodology he's used a couple times when he's brought himself back from financial death, which he shared with you. It's not a secret, otherwise I wouldn't mention it. It's not a secret, but he's used it a couple times himself, and it's all very doable. But you got to want to do more than just talk about it. And getting back to your initial question, being high performance is to take it seriously. And for those of you that are in young, late teens, early 20s, mid 20s, you can do this process 5, 6, 7, 8 times. For those of you in your 40s, you can do it 2 or 3 times. For those of you in your 50s or 60s, you can do it once or twice. But we are creating generational wealth, which would normally take 20 to 25 years, which is the definition of a generation, in 3 to 7 years. 3 years if you do everything perfect, 7 years if you do everything wrong. And most people, they average about 5 years.
Let's go back in time before we go to QLA and explain QLA a little bit more. You had a company.
Correct.
Built it from $820.
Correct.
And took it public for $450 million.
Correct.
That was when?
1984.
Okay. Then after you start coaching?
I got thrown out by the shareholders. And in 1993, I gave my first seminar in Los Angeles. And I've been coaching ever since. But this century, I've only given, last 20 years, I've only given the seminar at the castle. I went from giving them, by the way, the first seminars I gave were all free. I gave everything free because I didn't need the money. But I had no accountability. Let's say I take this table right here, and I train you for free. Some of you are going to go learn how to play golf better. Some of you, there's no accountability. That's why I don't like a charitable organization, because it's hard to keep people accountable that work for a charity. I mean, they're doing it for free, right? So I went from free to high-priced to only at the castle, where I hold them accountable.
And then you started coaching. Why didn't you start another company?
Because first of all, it sounds strange in hindsight. I found making $450 million easy. Easy. And I wanted to do something more with my life. And so when I got into the financial coaching, I wanted to change the fabric of financial coaching, which I have. And I wanted to be known as and now that's what they call me, the greatest of all time. But this was just me flapping my mouth 25 years ago. Now I am the greatest of all time, vis-a-vis creating wealth through people like yourselves. And I wanted to leave that legacy. And I wanted people, like, I'm from the barrio, I'm a real rough background, been in jail 5 times, did a lot of ugly things, which I don't recommend to anybody. But I'm glad it happened to me, because I know what the other side, like some of you have never been, kicked in the teeth. I know what it is to be kicked in the teeth and my teeth be on the pavement. I know what that feels like. I know the humiliation. Forget the pain. You get over the pain. And I wanted the poor kids to understand that they had a methodology. There was a methodology used by one of them, and I'm considered for poor, although it's hard pressed for me to say how they don't believe that I'm poor now. But I mean, that was once poor and got in a lot of trouble. You can do it if you want to do it bad enough. The operative part of that little description is if you want it bad enough. Muhammad Ali, which used to be Cassius Clay, the great fighter, arguably one of the greatest fighters ever, he was talking shit since he was 14, 15 years old. I'm the greatest. Before he ever had a professional fight. In athletics, it's more accepted to talk shit. Okay? You've been trained, keep your head down, don't embarrass yourself, don't embarrass the family, don't say things that may not happen. And I do just the opposite. I tell you to set goals beyond your lifetime. I tell you to set goals as soon as humanly possible. When kids come to me, they want to make $1 million, 10 million, you know, and then when they've made 100 million, they say, Mr. Pena, we would have never, ever dreamt that we could create 100 million until we met you. You will never exceed your highest expectation. You will never exceed your highest, craziest thought. Never. That's a guarantee. And so then why, other than you've been taught by your parents in conventional wisdom, to set low goals? They've told you, the theory is you set low goals so then you can stair-step achievement, and you won't be as disappointed when you fail. That's the theory. But normally the person or the persons that have proposed that theory are poor.